Let's use SeaORM to create a relation between two entities. So in cargo.toml file, we will add a Tokyo and a SeaORM to our dependencies. We use SQLite database and runtime Tokyo. In src folder, let's first create a file user.rs. So in this user.rs file, we will create a user entity. Let's add this user file to our project mode user. Let's create a public structure. Its name must be model. Let's add a field ID. Let's give it a ISR2. Let's add a name field. Give it a type string. Let's add an attribute derive debug colon partial equal and derive entity model, then default. Let's also add a attribute SeaORM to specify the table name will be users. Let's add an attribute for this ID colon SeaORM. We will give it a primary key. Then let's define a public enum pub enum relation. Let's add an attribute derive debug colon enum iter and derive relation. Let's implement active model behavior. For active model, here let's change this importer to asterisk. Let's copy this code. Let's create another file. Let's give it a name post.rs. Let's add this file to our project as a module. So mode post invent.rs file. Then let's pass this code. We will create another model for post and also have a field ID. Let's change this field to content. Let's add another field for this post model. We give it a name user ID. Let's give it a type of ISR2. So this user ID will be the foreign key. We will build a relation between user and the post model based on this foreign key user ID. Let's change this post table name to post. And also we will add this attribute and we will create a relation enum for this post and implement active model behavior. Then let's go back to this user.rs file. We will build a relation between this user entity to the post entity. So in this relation enum, we will add a variant. Let's give it a name post. Then we need to add an attribute SeaORM. Let's create a relation one-to-many. This means a user can have multiple posts, but one post can only have one user. So in this SeaORM, we will specify the has many. Then we need to specify the entity. We will create a relation to the post entity. Let's specify the post entity will be super. This super will go to the parent module, then post module, then the entity in its post module entity. Then you can see we got an error tell us we not implement a related for the entity. So let's implement impl related for the entity, and we need to specify a concrete type for this related. It will be the post entity. So super post entity. Then we need to implement this for this user entity. Its name will be entity. In this implement block, we need to implement method 2. In this method, we will call relation in post the diff method. Here we still have an error because we not implement a relation in this post entity back to the user entity. So let's go to the post.rs file. In this enum relation, we will add a variant. Let's give the name user. Then let's add a attribute for this user variant, SeaORM. In this, we will add a belongs to. So when you specify the post belong to the user entity, it will be super user entity. Then we also need to add a from. When you specify the foreign ID for this from, it will be colon. In this user ID colon, we use underscore to separate each word, but in this colon, we will change it to camel case. So it will start with the uppercase U and the user ID. Then we need to specify this user ID to the ID in its user entity. So we will add a 2 equal to super user colon and the ID from the user. Then we also need to implement related for the post entity. So impl related. Then we need to specify the super user entity and for the post entity. Then we need to implement to method. Then we will in this method call relation user the diff method. So you can see we will get rid of the error in this user.rs file. Let's go back to main.rs file. Let's first add a attribute Tokyo main for the main function. Then let's change the main function to a sync function. Let's create a connection to the SQLite database. So we call database connector. Let's pass a URL SQLite colon // Let's give it a name db.SQLite file. Let's add a mode read write C. So it will open this file as a database file. If there is no this file, it will create one. Then let's call await to handle the future and wrap to handle the result. Then let's get a database backend. Let's create a variable db backend equal to connection get a database backend. Then let's create a statement 1 equal to, we will create a statement call statement from SeaORM from string. We pass this db backend as a first argument. Then let's create a statement to create a user table. So create a table users. It will have two fields like this user model ID and name. So ID, let's give it a type of integer primary key and auto increment and the name text. Then let's call connection.execute to execute this statement 1. Then let's call await and unwrap. So it will create a user table in the database. Then let's copy this, create a second statement. We will create the post table. So let's change its name to statement 2. Here also statement 2. Let's table change it to posts. It will have a field its ID, also type of integer primary key auto increment. It will have another two field will be content and user ID. So let's add a content give the type text, and the user ID, give it a type integer. So its user ID type should be the same type as the type of this ID in its users table. Let's import a model and entity from the user.is file. So here, use user active model as user model. Also, let's import a entity as user. Let's also import a post model and a post entity from post.rs file. So use post active model as post model and the entity as post. Then let's create two new user and insert that user to the database. So here, let's create a user1 equal to, we will call user model. The name field, let's call set method from active value. Let's give the name Jim to string. Then let's call default to generate ID. Let's call user1.insert and pass a reference connection .await.wrapper to insert this user1 into the database. Then let's copy this and insert another user. Let's give the name Pam. Here, let's change it to user2. Here, also user2. Let's find the user1 and the user2 from database. So let's create a variable, give it a name u1 equal to, we will call user find by ID, then pass ID 1 as argument. Then we will call one method and pass the ref connection. Then let's call await and unwrap to handle the result, and unwrap again to handle the option. Then let's create a u2 and change its ID to 2. Let's get the user ID from this u1 and u2. Let's create a variable, give it a name user1 ID equal to, we'll call u1 into active model. Then we can call ID field to get the ID. Then let's also create a variable user2 ID. Here, let's change it to u2. Then let's create 3 posts. Let's create a post1 equal to, we will call post model content. Let's give it a value set hello to string. Then user ID, we will give it a user ID. It's user1 ID. Then let's call colon. So its post1 will belong to user1. Then let's call the default to generate the ID for its post1. Let's create a second post2 and content change it to word. Also, user ID will be the user1 ID. So its post2 also will belong to user1. Let's create a third post3. Let's change the message to hello world. User ID we will change it to user2 ID. So its post3 will belong to user2. Let's insert its 3 posts into the database. So post1.insert ref connection await unwrap. Let's change this post2 and here post3. Let's select all the posts from database. So let's create a variable, give it a name all posts equal to, we will call post find all and pass a ref connection as argument, then await, then unwrap. Let's print all the poster. So all posters Then let's only find the poster belong to user 1. So let's create a variable posters u1 equal to, we will call u1 da find related method. Then we'll pass the poster entity as argument. So it will be poster. Then we will find all. Let's pass a ref connection. Then we call await to handle the filter and unwrap to handle the result. Let's print out all the posts belong to user 1. So print line posters from user 1 posters u1. Then let's find all the posters from user 2. Here let's change this to posters u2 and u2 find the related poster. Here posters from u2 and also here posters u2. Let's select one poster from database. So let's find the first poster p1. Let's create a variable equal to post find by id1 da 1 ref connection da await da unwrap da unwrap again. Then let's find the owner of this poster 1. So let's create a user p1 equal to, we will call p1 da find related. Then we will pass the user entity as argument. Then let's find 1 and ref connection da await da unwrap. Let's print out this user of this poster 1. So print line user of poster 1 user p1. Here let's also call another unwrap to handle the option. Let's run our code. In terminal, let's cargo run. So here it will first print out all the posters from the database. So first post ID is 1, content is hello, user ID is 1, and the second post ID is 2, and the user ID is 1, and the third post ID is 3, user ID is 2. Then we select all the posts from user 1. It will be first post ID 1 and the user ID is 1, and the second post ID is 2, user ID is also 1. So it's only first post and the second post belong to user 1. Then we select all the posters from user 2. Here it will print out poster 3, ID is 3, and user ID is 2. Last, we select the owner of the poster 1. So the first poster user ID is 1, so its owner will be ID is 1, name is Jim. This is how we create a relation by using SeaORM. Hope see you next time.